life was very happy before Hitler arrived in 1933, and after that became absolute hell. And we were ostracized by our German, non-Jewish German neighbors, and I had a difficult time at school. I had stones thrown at me on the way home. And one day I arrived in the classroom and someone had written on the blackboard, "All Christians are liars and cheats." And I was supposed to have done that. I mean, I had actually no idea who did that. And I was called to the front of the class, and I had to listen to a diatribe by the teacher against me and against Jews in general. My form master was a Nazi who appeared in brown shirt uniform quite frequently. That was my saving, because it was the director of the orphanage who nominated me to go out in the first Kindertransport on the 1st of December 1938. I arrived in this country, was taken to a reception camp where I spent 4 or 5 weeks, was selected to go to a German Jewish boarding school which had been transferred from southern Germany to Kent. In 1933, very, very early, soon after Hitler came to power, when the very far-sighted head teacher realized that she couldn't educate Jewish children in that kind of environment. And in 1938, when the Kindertransports arrived, she took in about 50 or 60 of us, and I was all the lucky ones. It was like a home, really. The teachers most of them were refugees, but not all, some were English. But they treated us like their own children, more or less, as parent substitutes. And also insofar as, I don't know whether you are familiar with the concept of survivor's guilt. After a great tragedy, somebody has escaped that tragedy, an earthquake or the Holocaust, has a feeling of guilt at surviving, whereas everyone else has died. And I certainly have suffered from that. Well, Holocaust Memorial Day is, I think, a very important day to commemorate the victims of the Holocaust. Somehow mankind doesn't seem to want to remember the lessons which one should be drawing from this, that one should never allow this to happen again. And yet since then there have been a number of genocides in Rwanda, for example, and even in Serbia and nearer at home. And we just don't seem to learn from history. Lord Dubs has introduced a motion in the House of Lords and the House of Commons calling on the government to let at least 3,000 of the children milling around France at the moment. And yet the government has only allowed a few hundreds to come in so far.